that was a great environment. We knew it would be, but it was electric in there, and it, our fans, they play a factor in that. They played a factor the other day, and it's hard to communicate, and it's, you can feel it in there, and we appreciate it. And I do believe it really is an advantage. It's a home field advantage, and not everybody gets it, and we do. And I'm glad we earned that. So fired up for us, fired up for the fans. We get 2 more here, so that's exciting. Start with the next thing would be, first of all, defense. What an unbelievable job. I mean, that was one of the best performances I think we've had all year. You could argue it was the best performance. And Aaron Glenn he's as good a coach as you're going to find. He's an even better human being. But look, if nobody wants him, I'll take him again. I can tell you that right now. But the thought of going through another cycle and he's not somebody's head coach is ridiculous. I mean, this guy is as good as they come, and he can do it all. He understands how to manage a game. He understands offense, defense, special teams. He knows how to communicate. He understands discipline of players. And he's motivating, man. He's inspiring. Anyway, I don't want to lose him, but I also root for the guy because I just think he's a hell of a coach. But what he did the other day and what that defensive staff did and what our players did, to have the plan in place of what we knew we needed to do and to watch them bring it to life. Our players brought that plan to life, and they did it. And I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, 3 of 13 on 3rd down, 0 of 3, 4th down, 0 of 4 in the red zone, only gave up 5 explosives. 3 sudden changes really defensively, had to go out there and were able to hold them back. That's significant. That's significant. So, just can't say enough good things. That whole defense, top to bottom, it really is more about, who didn't play well than who played well, because we had so many guys that played outstanding, and they're all getting the game ball over there. Offensively, once we hit the second half, really got going, and I felt like one of the biggest plays was what happened right before halftime. We get the ball at the 40-yard line, and offensively, end of half situation, man, 2 plays, and there we are within Bates's range, use the timeout. He goes out there and nails it, and that was pretty significant to go in at halftime with an extra 3 points there. And then, got the run game going. Gibbs was outstanding in the run and the pass game. The O-line really came through for us. And Goff, after the second pick, I mean, he did some there were some high-level throws, high-level technique, fundamentals that was really good to see. You could tell it aggravated him, and he made huge plays for us. St. Brown was big for us. Laporta was big. I thought Tim Patrick played really well. So those guys showed up. Special teams, it was good to have Leaf back. Leaf, we didn't pop these big ones, but, man, you can just tell we're this close, and it's good to have him back, 14-yarder, 9-yarder. Vaki was really good, coverage in. And then the return aspect, Neiman did some good things, and Hogan Hatton, a young guy for us that continues to get better and better. So it's just a hell of a win. Proud of the guys. It's not easy to do. I mentioned the other day, you get back-to-back division wins. We got the 1 seed, so we knocked out 2 of our goals this year, and we got 1 more to go. Question?
Yeah, that's Coach Campbell right there from yesterday. Welcome to the Villain Report. We're going to go over that, and we're going to go over all of the playoff matchups. Oh,
playoffs?
All the playoff matchups on a week that the Lions actually don't have to play on today's episode of the Lion Villain Report. All right.
Hey yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, hands open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lies of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like a smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose when I get to, never lose move on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never the sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity. your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. It's your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.
Yeah. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lion Villain Report. It's your boy, Russell Wayne, up in the house, broadcasting live. The Lions Villain Squad Facebook page. If you guys haven't been there yet, got over 62,000 on there. Thank you to the Lion Villain Squad Facebook page and the Lion Villain Squad YouTube page. Thank you to those that subscribe to the Lion Villain Squad YouTube page, the Detroit Lions News Podcast with Joe Chapp. Thank you. And the Huddle Sports Network with Bill the Packer fan, Mike the Bear fan, over 30 podcasts. Love being part and affiliated with that group of people too. As well as we are the undrafted free agent, the UDFA of sports podcasting. You can support us by simply liking and sharing and commenting and joining the conversation. Yeah, that's right. You can join the conversation. And we love talking Lions football, especially talking when the Lions beat down the Vikings to win the NFC North title, get a first-round bye, 31-9. Beat that ass. That's right. We love to do that. This show, as always, is brought to you by Detroit Lions swag from NFL Shop. That's right. You can use that QR code. Grab yourself some of that NFC North Championship gear. Get up to 25% off from our affiliate marketing partners at NFL Shop. And if you want to partner with the Villain Squad, you own a business, or you live in the state of Michigan, or you love the Detroit Lions, maybe you want to partner with the Villain Squad and our approaching 200,000 person network. Yeah, you can call Main Event Mike at 810-620-2167 and find out how you can harness the power of the villain right there. And you can also follow Main Event Mike, who hosts a great show on Monday nights called The Main Event Football Show with Main Event Mike, going over all of the news, rumors, and good stuff about the NFL. So welcome one, welcome all. Here we are. I want to listen to some more of this Dan Campbell. I want to react to this Dan Campbell. Before I get there, let's say hello to all of my friends that are in the comments so far. What's up, Henry Gray?
You like that?
Davey in the house.
You like that?
Fred Peterson's in the house.
You like that?
Michael Jordan's in the house too. Dang. Michael Jordan.
You like that?
Tyler's in the house. Dwayne's in the house.
You like that?
Bear Down Mike coming in and says, congrats on a
You
blowout
like that?
win. Congrats on your win too. That's a big monkey to get off your back. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Scott.
Say hello to my little friend.
Good morning, Elise. The queen of memes is in the house. Gosh, she's been killing it.
You like that?
Great stuff. The Villain Squad out there. Maurice, what's up? Good morning, villains. Broski Bear welcoming himself to the chat. I'm sure he'll have something negative to say about the Lions. If not, I'll be like, what's wrong with you, Broski? Oh, Central Scrutinizer. What's
You
up,
like
buddy?
that?
Good to see you in here. All right, let's get to more of this Dan Campbell press conference right here now that I said hello to everybody. And I gotta like that. I like doing that. I like listening to what Dan Campbell's going to say about it.
In 2018 with the Saints, what did you learn from that experience? How do you set up your schedule to keep guys sharp, to make sure they're getting the rest during this bye week?
Well, enjoy it. Just sit back for a minute and it's really one of those things where, for the players, you just want to keep the engine idling That's probably the best way to say it, you know. So you don't want to turn it off, but let's just leave it at idle. And really tomorrow they're going to have off. We're going to bring them in Thursday. We're going to go good on good, practice. Most of it will be situations, end of half, end of game. We'll come back Friday and do a full game, all out, 3 hours, full hitting, goal line, short yardage. Hold on. Thursday we will practice. It won't be in pads, but it will be end of game situations, probably an hour, just to stay in flow. And little things that we need, little detail work that we can get, and that's for the guys that we know can go out there and move and work. And then after that, giving them 3 days off, and then they'll be back in Monday, and by then, hopefully we know the opponent, and we'll be ready to go.
Coaches, what sort of prep work, if anything?
What sort of prep work? All right. Let's unpack some of that right there. First of all, I wanted to say something because I'm so glad that David Montgomery went out there and got those second opinions and that third opinion. I mean, if he would have had that season-ending injury, the season-ending surgery for the MCL, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But it looks like David Montgomery is going to be available for that divisional playoff game, which is huge. That's huge. So that's big news. That's in there. And the other thing is like, I know that there is that narrative that when you get the week off, that one seed is usually at like that disadvantage. And sometimes that's true. But I don't believe that in this team. There is no team that needed a bye more than the Detroit Lions. I mean, it is what it is. But when you have so many injuries, now you're going to definitely get guys back. And, you know that you're going to have Alex Anzalone because he played in that last game and played well, but he's going to have 2 more weeks to heal on that arm. He took a chance, calculated risk. But, when he said that last year that, you may never get back here again, that NFC Championship game, those guys all breathed that in. And it is true. And you can't take anything for granted. Alex Anzalone takes a calculated risk knowing, gosh, if they don't win that game and they're playing in the Wildcard weekend, trying to shuffle guys around, trying to get these guys healthy, they earned that bye. Sometimes teams are so good that they just get the bye and then they get relaxed. This team had to earn every single step. And kudos to the Minnesota Vikings. Kudos to the Minnesota Vikings for keeping pace the entire time. I want to make fun of you. I want to say we kicked your ass and everything, but that was a 10-6 game at halftime. And we slowly pulled away from you, and then it looked like a blowout at the end. But if I'm being honest, that game was closer than the score looked. I look at both things like that. So 2 weeks ago, when you're talking about, the San Francisco 49ers cutting it to a 6-point game, that game wasn't that close. That team scored with, 2 minutes or 12 seconds left or whatever to cut it to 6 points. They had no realistic chance. You had to, whenever you're going to luck, that game wasn't as close as that score showed. But this last week's game, 31-9, that didn't tell the story of the game. You look at that and you go, oh yeah, the Lions messed them up. If you didn't watch the game, that's probably what you would think. But that's not what happened. The Minnesota Vikings had that game at 10-6 and actually got it to 10-9 and was in the red zone 2 times. Didn't get any points. Missed a field goal. Missed opportunities. Van Ginkel had a pick 6 in his hand. Game could have been a little bit closer. It could have been closer. It could have been closer just by making sure that you win those high stakes plays. And that's what the Lions do. And when it comes down to it, and you get that battle of the will type of plays, Lions win 90% of those, it seems like. I need to be more man than you, and nothing to do with the play. So I like that. And then the thing is like the other thing I heard there was they're going to do a full contact game on Friday to make sure that they're taking the hits, making sure that their bodies are going to be ready to play a game after a bye. So they know it. They needed the bye for the rest, but it's business as usual, keeping your bodies ready. You're taking those chances like that, but that's why they're winning these games late. That's why we're outlasting these people. But here's more from Dan Campbell.
There's 4 teams that you could play, so how do you set up your week personally?
Yeah, it's really tough. It's because here's what I don't want to do, and I've been a part of it as a player and a coach. You don't know who you're playing, so then you start doing, you do legwork on another opponent, and then you find out it's not that opponent. And so, man, I don't want to do that to the coaches. So my plan is to give them off 3 days this weekend. Refresh, get your sleep, get your rest. We're going to know hopefully by Sunday night. And then we come in, we'll know the opponent, and then we are full force on that, full game plan. We'll know who we face. We've really faced all of these teams with the exception of, as far as this one coming up, Washington. We haven't faced Washington this year, so they would be the one that we, and we're working on breakdowns. We'll have those, but, and we'll go from there. I hate the thought of doing work on somebody you might not even play.
You mentioned Aaron Glenn, and also Ben Johnson is in the mix as well.
Yeah.
What is it? What do you do? Your coordinators in such demand? Is it partly because you empower them and give them so much leeway? And why do you do that? And how have you learned to empower your coordinators?
Yeah. Well, look, their work speaks for itself. It has nothing to do with me. All right. Both of those guys, man, they're smart. They're grinders. They're strategic. They understand how to teach, communicate, motivate. And so their work speaks for itself. And both of those guys are more than worthy of being head coaches. They're ready. They ask the right questions. I've tried to give them everything I think they need to be head coaches, and I believe that both of those guys are more than ready. But look, those two guys do a hell of a job, and so does Phipp. Dave Phipp, our special teams coordinator, and so does Scotty Montgomery, the assistant head coach, who stands in front of the room for us every week. So he's a hell of a coach too. All right, I don't want to lose any of those guys, but I mean, believe me, he's a head coach candidate. But yeah, those guys, I can't say enough great things about those coaches and the way they work, the way they grind, and have our players prepared to play the way we need to play going in on Sundays.
Yeah, so let's unpack a couple of those things right there. For one, you have the obvious thing of we're talking about head coaching stuff and losing some of these players. I wanted to unpack this comment in here by Broski. I know that you didn't have anything negative to say, and this isn't really negative, and I wanted to touch on this, and then I'm going to touch on the coaching thing. Don't let a banged up Montgomery take touches away from Gibbs. Just don't do it. Keep beating Gibbs. And I agree with that 100%. And this was something that I'd said when we lost Montgomery, when everybody was thinking that the sky was falling because we lost David Montgomery. And I was like, really? You're talking about it's an awful thing to lose David Montgomery, but you're telling me that now we're going to be forced to use our best playmaker more. So, one thing that I noticed with the touches in here, they did give Gibbs more touches. He is getting the ball more, but he's not on the field as many on more snaps than he was before. They got this healthy dose of Craig Reynolds has been stepping in and taking some, and Sione Vaki's been taking a couple of snaps. Jamar Jefferson's been taking a couple of snaps. So what I think they did, broski, was they divvied out David Montgomery's snaps between 3 different backs, where they just gave them some, and then they gave the rest of the snaps to Gibbs. Now, they also made it when Gibbs was out there, he was probably going to get the ball too. They didn't have him do as much of the pass blocking. When he was out there, he's either running a route or he is getting the football. And sometimes you ask the running backs to block, and he does that every once in a blue moon. But they're using Gibbs more as the playmaker now. So Montgomery is probably going to take more carries from Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki. You're probably not going to see as many of those role players. Jamar Jefferson might not even suit up because of the Montgomery thing. So I don't think that's going to happen where they're going to take snaps away from Gibbs. Gibbs is unleashed by this time. The other part is the Ben Johnson, we're talking about losing coaches. So 2 things. I think there's a chance that we don't lose Ben Johnson. That's something that I just heard right there. He went out and gave a full endorsement right there for Aaron Glenn. I think that he fully expects Aaron Glenn to take a head coaching job. But you notice he didn't put that in the forefront with the same energy with Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson is a very smart guy. And if he does take another year before he takes a head coaching job, it's probably because of 2 things. One, he loves the players. Growing up with Gibbs and this offensive line and being able to write an offense and have it with the offense is cool to him. And you can sense that from him. And the other part is he wants to learn. He wants to learn. He wants to learn how to run a team. And he can see that this is a team that's being run well. He wants to learn from Brad Holmes. He wants to learn from Dan Campbell. He wants to learn from how he hires coaches, how he builds that culture. Because here's the weakness of hiring Ben Coach as a coach. He doesn't have a master motivator anymore. He has to come up with his own offensive and defensive coordinators. He's got to get his own GM that is working on the same page, that's on the same page as ownership, believe in a quarterback and be able to install an offense and defense. That's different than just, being able to be the mastermind of the offense. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying that he understands that that's a process, and that he learning as much as he possibly can will give him the best chance to be successful from day one. Because one thing that he brought up last year was he understands that more head coaches fail than succeed. So he doesn't want to fail. He's calculating all these things. So I think that Ben Johnson has a chance to stay. And if he does take a job, another thing that I heard right there is Scotty Montgomery is going to be looking for a head coaching job someday. But he might step into an offensive coordinator role, or he might be able to take a different role that is a promotion within the Lions. I fully do believe that the Lions will promote from within. When Aaron Glenn takes the new job, I do believe that the defensive coordinator will be Kelvin Shepard, linebackers coach, because That's what we're building here. Now, we can argue whether that's a good idea or a bad idea on how they're doing it, but I don't see them going out and trying to get Robert Saleh as their defensive coordinator. I believe that the defensive and offensive coordinator, if Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn leave, are already on the team right now. And that's the way that we're going to do it, because we're going to take advantage of that. Because if Aaron Glenn goes and gets a head coaching job, then the Lions get a compensatory draft pick for using that new Rooney type of rule. I want to say good morning right there to Jerome. Good morning.
You like that?
I don't know if I'm a master podcaster, but I tell you what I am. I'm the UDFA of sports podcasting. So what I don't know about podcasting, I'm willing to grind. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to get better every day, like blue collar. That's why I'm here Monday through Saturday at 10 a.m. every day, putting in the work, getting better by the day. That's what we want to do. Just get a little bit better. So, there we go. So let's get back into this, because I want to be able to talk about the playoff games too. So, Dan Campbell in his press conference, here's a little bit more.
Overrule their strategic.
We cover everything together. And it is rare for me to overrule something. You know, it's rare.
Does having the bye week kind of, I guess, open up their schedule a little bit? I know it's not the first time they've had to handle interviews, but does the bye week give them a little bit more time, I guess?
Yeah, I think that helps. I think that's actually better. I mean, you know, this time last year, they're trying to do it, you know, we didn't have a bye anything, and so you're trying to get things, they're trying to figure out ways to fit this in, and you know, you'd love to have the opportunity to go to the next thing, but you also have an obligation with the team you're with. I mean, that's impossible. That's an impossible task. Whereas this, man, we put this game to bed. We have the players in today. We don't know who we're playing yet. It's time to kind of rest, relax. So now a little bit of that focus for those guys can go to, okay, here's the interviews that I'm getting ready for. Let me look at their rosters. Let me figure out, you know, what's going on over at those other teams, who I can call, I just think it's really good for everybody. I'm going to come to you next, I promise you. I'm doing it. I'm coming to you next.
Montgomery next week when you
I
play
do.
the playoff game. And
I do.
Zeitler, O'Connor, and Arnold, I guess their updates on those.
We got better news on Zeitler and Arnold. I can't guarantee that they're playing, but it's much better than it appeared to be when the injuries happened. So it's positive news. O'Connor is not as positive. It's the best way to say that for those three. Yes, ma'am.
About injuries too, but for long term, looking like Carlton Davis, Derek Barnes, are they progressing like you would think?
They're doing great. I don't see them coming back at all. Those players won't. I don't see them coming back at all.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How about Aiden?
Yeah, it's same thing. Look, I'm going to say it again. He has a season-ending injury, but if anybody can come back from this, it would be Aiden, is the best way to say it.
Going back to Sunday, obviously the game really kind of swung a lot on fourth down. How much do you attribute your success on fourth down, the fact that you go for it so much and you
All right. Yeah. I should have waited a little bit before I jumped in, because yeah, that was a good comment right there on the head coaching thing. It's like setting yourself up for the bye actually makes it like flow better, because we don't know who our opponent is. So like he had said, you want to play a game against each other. You want to make sure you're still taking hits to make sure your body's, you know, ready for the flow that it's used to. But you don't want to install a game plan. You don't want Ben Johnson trying to come up with a game plan for all these different teams when You just wait till Sunday and get into your regular game flow. You don't want to game plan any more or less for any team. You want to do your thing. You got your routine. You got your thing that works. They show up, they do their thing, game plan. So you'll know on Sunday night. So that gives them, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson to go out there. They can put their concentration, into that next step of their life. What do they want to do? What are they looking for? And then you can put that idea on the shelf come Sunday night, and then you're done with your bye week. You're done with your week off, and then you come in Monday. You're ready to work. You're ready to work. And that was good news right there. I mean, Zeitler can't ever have too much offensive lineman. I like where Mahogany is at. I think that he is the future in the middle of that offensive line, but Zeitler is the veteran, and I'm glad to see him back. And then seeing Terrion Arnold in there. And the emergence of Amik Robertson can't be understated either. The only reason he was never given an outside shot was because of his height. And he's obviously just one of those players that overcome that. He was in tears to be considered on that outside corner thing. And he's like, look, I'm not even surprised. I knew I was going to be great at this. I just needed to be given a chance. And the organization, known as the Detroit Lions, gave him a chance. He's an outside corner. He's better at outside corner than he is at slot corner. Who else do we have that could put the clamps on Justin Jefferson? Now, I'm not saying he's going to do it every single time, but that's impressive. That's impressive. So that was the comment. That was the comment there. Good injury news. Obviously, that's what we knew, that doing this would be a great thing for, the injuries coming back. But more Dan Campbell.
Players are psychologically conditioned to execute in those situations.
Well, I think there's something to the fact that because we do it in real time, real games. You are in that. I guess you're under those elements. You do it enough that it does. I do think it can help. I do think it helps, and I do think our guys, for the most part, look at it as it's just the next down, as opposed to, man, this is do or die. This is the last chance we met. If we don't get this, that's not how they look at it. They look at it, well, this is the next down. That was third down. This is fourth down. What's the difference? We just, So I do think there is a benefit to that, and they understand that. They view it, and I think they've figured out a little bit of who I am over time now. This didn't just pop up. So I think they have a pretty good grasp of when we're going to do it, when we're not. Some games we go in saying we're going to be more aggressive than others. Sometimes it just kind of flows that way.
Your fourth down aggressiveness bleeds over maybe to the other team, that they might have, like Sunday, they went for it on fourth down more. When they were offsides on the jump, they probably thought you were definitely going to go for it. That might have helped them because how much you guys do go for it.
I do think there is some of that, to where teams know coming in that they may need to be more aggressive because of the fact we're going to be. And yeah, I do think there is some of that. I really do. And it does help, I do think it is. When you're able to do it as much as we've done it, then it just validates the fact you're going to go for it on fourth. And then you got to decide if you want to play that game with us or not, because I also know there's plenty of coaches that are telling their guys, look, he's going to mess this up. That head coach over there he's going to make a decision that's going to cost their team, and we'll just stay true to what we do. And you can't argue with that either. There's no right or wrong to it, in my opinion. I just know my right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's it right there. Making teams do what they don't want to do is one of the keys to winning in the NFL. And the Lions have made it just part of the culture and the DNA that they're going for it on fourth down. And what he just narrated right there, there are some teams that have the philosophy of, okay, we're not going to go for it as much. And he's going to mess it up, right? Well, the Vikings, I thought that they were one of those teams. And because the Lions are so aggressive and they're so damn good at it, they pulled the Vikings out of their element. All of a sudden, the Vikings are going for it on fourth down. I mean, there's a couple field goals they could have had, and they're just kicking short field goals. You know, you want to play that points game with the Lions. So it's interesting. It's interesting because his nature is to go for it. And forever, until he wins a Super Bowl, that's going to be his downfall. Everyone's going to call it his downfall because you can move that goalpost all the way through to the Super Bowl. And if going for it, you know, has them losing a game, that's the conversation that we have to have. Oh, is he going for it too much? I think that what they're doing is they're building themselves up to where I have experience, right? If I've went for it on fourth more down 75 more times than you have, just because my coach is more aggressive, when we get into that moment, your butterflies are going to be worse than my butterflies. Oh, I've been here before. Oh, we just need 2 yards. Or we just need, you know, I think that's why we get the fourth downs more than other teams do. Like, even though they have a league-wide, all right, here's the percentage of this is what people get. The Lions are above that curve because they do it more. They have more experience at it. And it isn't reckless. It isn't reckless. Now, they do have plans when they go into games sometimes, and Dan has said it before, where we're going to go for it a lot. We're going to go for it a lot. But I'm gonna let Dan say that, though. I'm going to let Dan say that. So here's some more. We're almost done with this one right here. And then we'll talk about these playoff games.
Playoffs? Other teams can maybe get out of their comfort zone with some of that too. You know, Minnesota went for it. Maybe they don't do that quite as much.
I mean, possibly, but possibly. But I think you also know going into the game,
Definitely.
You're probably going to need to be that way. So I think you probably practiced that and kind of talked about that, and so I think it could have a little bit of an effect, you know, but I don't know how much.
Saw Goff get emotional talking about you on the NBC postgame show again. You're never afraid to show your emotions. He's gotten emotional talking about you in the past. What does it say about that room you have, this building here, with people that aren't afraid to share their emotions and show their emotions about one another?
I mean, look, I've said it all along. This is a special group of guys, and we've just, you know, I think when you bring in the kind of players and coaches that we have that are made a certain way, that you have to be made a certain way, or you're not even coming here anyway. You know, that's just not who we are. But then when a majority of us, or the biggest collection of these guys have been, I just mentioned it again, have been through what we've been through since 21. I mean, Goff and I went through all that in 21, you know, St. Brown, Sewell, Decker, Ragnow, you know, Alex. I mean, and so that's kind of it's just, we have a whole different perspective on things, and we know what it was like when it wasn't good, you know, and the fact that you're doubted, you're not good enough, you don't know what you're doing, you're not very smart, you can't process, you're throwing the ball out of bounds on fourth down, your coach is a meathead. You go through this whole deal, but yet you look at each other and you trust each other. Even in the bad times, you know that you can win with that guy. You can look at each other and say, we're doing things right, it's going to happen. And they trust it, and we all believe in each other, and I think that's where it all starts. And everybody that we brought in are our type of guys, and they've added to that, they've fueled that, and I think they really love the guys they're next to. I think they really appreciate the guys they're next to. And we talk about it all the time, man. You come in here, man, endear yourself to your teammates. That's big. That's a big thing for us. Because if you don't endear yourself to your teammates, I'm not going to have to do anything. They'll cut you out of here. And it's just big, man. We got a special group.
some R&R the next couple of days for somebody that eats, sleeps, and breathes the game as much as you do. What does that look like for you these next couple of days?
I have to drink the game. I'm going to get a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit of, work over the next 2 days. Like I said, we'll practice, and then I plan on getting out of here a little bit. I'll have stuff with me, and there'll be some little things I'm working on, things that I know that I can do better, get better at, things that I want to look at, do my own checklist as it pertains to us, like over the last, call it 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But other than that, man, I want to spend time with my family and just sit back for a minute and just charge back up and be ready to go.
You got at the Pistons game?
I heard Eamon told me it's awesome. It's the best, man.
Really quick, is Rakestraw amongst those guys that you're not expecting back?
I do think there's a chance we get Rake back. He's trending the right way, too. Yes, sir.
Thank you, guys.
That's Coach Dan Campbell. That's our coach. That's the coach. Talking about getting into this playoffs. Different playoff feeling now. It is. And I've seen some great comments in here. It's like you get these people playing your game, they're feeding right into your hand. And Steve, right here, the 4th down jump, the guy was thinking. I don't even know if the Lions were going to snap that ball. That was a total dupe. I don't know if they would have snapped that ball there. I totally don't. If they would have, they could have kicked the field goal and still went up 3 scores. I was just thinking that, and I was like, they trying to get these guys to jump offside, and they got them to bite. And that's just because they've went so many times. You just expect it to happen. But you can't convince me that they had a play drawn up and they were ready to go there. I think they were just going to. It was under 10 seconds on the play clock. So, Paul Jones, there you go, baby. Chemistry over hype. We have certain kind of guys here. We have a certain kind of guy here. And they're built. They're built for this. They are. And another reason that Dan Campbell goes for it all the time is the personnel of it. You're trying to put your strength in a position to close a game out, right? Winning games is hard. And if you got that recipe, your offense can close the game out. Take timeouts away. And when you got an offensive line, like, why wouldn't you? If you can end games with your offense out there. I think that's what it comes down to. It's a mentality. I'm going to drive inside the 20-yard line and kick a field goal. F that. Because if you don't get it, you would have to drive down there to get another field goal, right? And not get it. And then drive down there and get a third field goal in order to get as much points to get it once. So you're betting that I can get that touchdown. I'll get that touchdown rather than try to drive down here with all that work and get 3 points. It's interesting. And I think that the yardage matters too. If it's like 4th and 7 on the 20, you're taking the points, right? You're not going to 7 as much. I think you're inside 4 yards when they're doing that. But let's talk about these playoffs a little bit. We got about 15 minutes left. I got to go sing some Tool songs with my band that's going to be playing at the Machine Shop on Friday. Toolology, all Tool. We don't do as much as the new stuff. We're old school. I'm an OG. I like the old albums. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about these playoffs. Playoffs. I just got some Google up right here. But first game right there. On the AFC side, you got the Los Angeles Chargers against the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans to me have been kind of a disappointment this year, you know? If the Green Bay Packers were in that division, they would have won that division. But the Houston Texans won that division. But I believe Jim Harbaugh. I think Jim Harbaugh is a better coach in this. I think the Chargers play better playoff type of football. So I expect the Chargers to win that game. Steelers versus Ravens. I'll tell you what. I mean, I have to take the Ravens on this because, you know, that's the reigning MVP. He's probably gonna win the MVP because he likes to run a lot. Lamar Jackson. Like, I would like to tell you that I think Jared Goff deserves to be the MVP. But I don't think so. I think our whole team is so good and everybody contributes at the same time and they lift each other up. Goff is, yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But just the style of football that we play is more of a team type of thing. Now, Lamar does more of that stuff. You know, I think Jaden Daniels is more of an MVP. But that's just my opinion. But he would never win it. But when I think of an MVP, I think of like a player you can't live without. And the Lions probably couldn't live without Jared Goff. But, you know, if Jaden Daniels wasn't on that team with some of the magic that's happened there, that's what I think an MVP is, but that's not what they vote on. So Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, running quarterbacks to do it all. And that's why Jared Goff will never win an MVP. But I digress. That's okay. But what else we got on there? I do believe the Ravens will win that game. Broncos, Bills. Does that smell like an upset? Are we seeing shades of John Elway coming in, rookie year style? Broncos got a nasty back end. You think they'll be able to contain the Bills? I think there's a chance of that. To me, that's an upset spoiler alert. Could you imagine the Bills getting bounced in the first round? I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Bills are on a mission. But Patrick Surtain, he's really, really good. AG is the new Lovie Smith. I believe in this one right here. All signs point to AG in New Orleans. I think most people think that the Bills would win. But I'm just, you know, when I look at these things, I just want to I'm not ready to pick yet. I don't have to pick until tomorrow. So right now I'm just kind of glazing over it in my mind here. And the Broncos, I mean, they're coming on strong late. And that's the way they're dangerous. So are the Chargers. So Packers, Eagles. I mean, I think the Eagles are a bulldozer. I mean, I'd love to just tell you that I'm a Lions homer and I just want to root against the Packers. Oh, look at you. You're just a hater. You're going to root against the Packers because you're a hater. No, I'm going to root against the Packers. And I think the Packers are going to lose this game because of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis in the middle of that defense with that secondary. They got cornerbacks that can cover all your wide receivers. You're down Christian Watson. And Love ain't that good. Think that the Packers get bounced in the first round. I'll make my official prediction tomorrow, but I'm just thinking about it, how I'm looking at it right here, right now. That Eagles team is a scary team. And then you got the Commanders versus the Buccaneers. This is interesting. That is an interesting game. That is a surging Buccaneers team. Baker Mayfield might be playing the best football of his career. I think Hurts will be playing, Steve. But I'm thinking about this Commanders game, right? The thing that concerns me with the Commanders is the defense. I think Mike Evans is a problem for anybody. But I do believe that Jaden Daniels has that magic element. I think it's going to be a tough out in this game, but my first inkling is to say that the Buccaneers have that advantage right there. I would have to say my first thought would be to say Buccaneers. Mike Evans, you got a good defense. Todd Bowles should be up for Coach of the Year. Commanders is a good story. They can get bounced in the first round and feel good about their franchise. You're going to get a taste of playoff football. And the Buccaneers are really, really good on defense. Vikings-Rams. Vikings-Rams. Oh, God. Did the Lions just give the Rams a blueprint on how to stop Sam Darnold? Because we made Sam Darnold turn into Sam Darnold that, you get what you pay for. The Temu version of Sam Darnold. That's what you think you're getting at $10 million a year. I think that's what the Vikings thought that they were going to get. And he played a lot better, but the Lions got pressure right up the middle. Now, I know that the Rams don't have a Levi Onwuzurike or a DJ Reader in the middle. They were getting pressure in the middle. Lions got a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold. And, man, it's hard for me not to believe that even the football gods would want the Rams to win this game so we can have another Stafford versus Goff 2. And okay, now that we talked about it here, I think the Vikings could seriously get bounced in the first round. I mean, even the Vikings is a feel-good story. The Vikings are like the They're like the Commanders. Almost said the other word. The Vikings are like the Commanders. I think that any Viking fan, even though they went for it, they would get over the sting of it really fast, and then they would start looking to the future. Because no Viking fan thought they were going to do what they did. And if they get bounced in the first round, they'll get made fun of a little bit. But at the end of the day, they'll be like, we're building something here. We have a young team. So I do believe that the Rams, I believe the Rams would win this game. And that is a scary team right there. Now going back to what the broski, who do we want to face? Who would we want to face? I would tell you, and I thought about this for a while, broski. Who would I want to face out of all of those teams? Let me get that back in. Hold on one second. Oh, out of these teams in the second round. So it would be, Commanders, Buccaneers, Vikings, Rams. I would rather face the Commanders out of all those teams. And for the simple reason of it is hard to beat teams twice in a season. It's really hard to beat teams 3 times in a season. So actually, my division foes are the top on my list of teams that I don't want to play, because it is really, really, really hard to beat division foes. 3 times in a year, to go in and get the sweep and then to get bounced. That's a scary proposition. So to me, I would rather face the Commanders. Because our offense does damage against teams that have never seen our offense before. And Leo thinks that we want to face Green Bay. And to me, that would be, I would rather face Green Bay than face the Vikings again, because I think the Vikings are a lot better than Green Bay. Yeah, and this is the thing right here. I want a rookie quarterback coming into Ford Field. That, to me, if I had to make the choice, right, I would rather be the Commanders. See, I'm not going to say that, but that's out there. So that's how I remember them, broski. Has nothing to do with how I feel about offending people or whatever. I just remember that. I remember the 91 season. That was one of the games that made me a fan of football. I love football. I love the high level of competition. But I don't know what I'm going to say that. I'm going to go ahead and say that I would rather face the Commanders in the second round of the playoffs. Great conversation going on there, but I gotta wrap this thing up. I gotta go practice. I gotta go do that thing right here. But this is the Wildcard preview. We listened to what Dan Campbell had to say yesterday in his press conference, reacted to that. We talked a little bit about the wild card. We're going to do more of this wild card preview tomorrow when we do our lock picks. When I get in here with Main Event Mike and we make our final decisions on what we are going to pick for the Wildcard weekend. 31-9, Lions gave that Vikings a beatdown, got a first-round bye. We're excited about it. We get like a free week of content right here just to be able to talk and sit on our little thrones before we get nervous. Oh, yeah. Thank you to Detroit Lions News Podcast for allowing us to broadcast into your spot. Thank you to the Huddle Sports Network for allowing us to broadcast onto your platform. Thank you to the Villain Squad Facebook page and the people that go and follow that page right there. Thank you to the 62,000 followers. Yes, Leon Phelps. I'm going to be here with you all the way up to 70,000. Yeah. What is a pack exactly? Oh, hell yeah. Hey, go subscribe to that YouTube channel at Lion Villain Squad. Thank you. We're the UDFA of sports podcasting. That's the Tom Kennedy, baby. The UDFA. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to keep grinding. We're going to get real good at this. We're going to get good. We're going to get good. This show is all of the Villain Report shows brought to you by NFL Shop. Detroit Lions swag. Get your swag. Hit that QR code. Get yourself up to 25% off of your order. It's faith, family, and in football. We use football. Spend time with our family, create memories. We don't let football use us. Thank you for watching, everybody. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Yo, the lies so that you never make it. Hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win. Like lots of sin was popping in like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto. Choose what I get to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision and pay me, it's never to sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning, it's crazy. Opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity.